you're wondering why the fuck not, then this video should help you out. This video was inspired thanks to a viewer of the channel that left a comment literally asking this exact question, so thank you to you, and we're going to use your question to help learn from others. It came off the back of a transformation that was done, it's probably 2 videos ago, how to go from 20% to 10% body fat, very similar starting point. So we're going to use both and get the answers together. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Tom Sergey, and I run the Gorilla Platoon, which is an online physique transformation program like this, where we get results like this, and it's kind of nice. So what his comment was, I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. I'm 6'2", started at 20% body fat, as well have been eating 1,800 calories for over 2 months now, and I'm still hovering around 17% body fat. So at this point, obviously, quite annoyed, quite concerned and frustrated, and rightly so. He deserves to have greater results than this. Fair play to him, absolutely well done for eating that low. Not well done as in like, I'm not glad you ate that amount, I'm just glad that for 2 months you stuck to something consistently, and rightly so. You should be frustrated if you've not seen the results, so hopefully I can help you and get you in the right direction from here. I'm doing more gym sessions than your client, and most likely more reps and sets per session, and I'm still as fat as I am. Is it just genetics? And at that point, it's the right question to ask. Am I just genetically not gifted to get in shape? And hopefully I can help add some and shed some light on him here. He was referring to the transformation that we did here, where we went from 20% down to 10% body fat. And for transparency, I actually thought the starting point of this was a little higher than 20%, but only as I connected the dots backwards, I actually thought, no, he was 20% body fat, not 23, which I originally started from. So I'm just going to jump out of here and go into, he didn't state his current scale weight, but what I did was, I just jumped on the internet. I was like, average height for someone that's 6'2". You're looking anywhere from 171 to 29 pounds. So I just went with the average. And I work in kilos. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but I work in kilos and I put that in. So he's going to be sat very close to my client, actually. My client was starting at 87. He would be, on average, I'm not saying this is his weight, but roughly speaking, he'd be 86 kilograms, 20% body fat, a lean mass of 69. Which is right, he's going to want to push to around 77, 10% on top of that, 76, 77, so 76 on top of that, which is what my client pushed to. His RMR, his resting metabolic rate, is 1,860 calories. So realistically, we don't want to start on that to begin with, definitely not, because that's your RMR plus your activity. Added the two together. His maintenance should be just shy of 2,900 calories. Now, he didn't state if he started on it or if he staircased his way down to it. But let's say, for argument's sake, you come to me and, like, as a fresh canvas, you're like, well, what would you do with me in this situation? The way I like to approach things, and I'll just go back to the slide. So 87 kg, 20% body fat. I originally thought he was fatter, as in 23. So I opted for a fairly aggressive drop that started him at 2,156, 10k steps, no cardio. So already it's like quite a bit above what this guy's started on at 1,800. So from there, if we were to just work the figures out here, this guy, if you wanted to do, because realistically, if you want to go aggressive, you can do, but it comes at a higher cost. This is the main punchline I would say is, you want to understand your body first for across 2 weeks, because a lot of people will trash their metabolism by eating not complete whole foods, and then they'll try and diet anyway. And if you pull your calories too low and you've not been eating well in the first place, your body will go into a state of like survival, which is essentially what this guy's here is doing, where it doesn't want to release the body fat. The only way you can lose body fat at 1,800 calories is if you've staircased your way to it, progressively got the body to respond to a certain calorie amount. So my first action step for this guy would actually be, so you've been dieting for 2 months, which is annoying. We're still in and around the same region. Okay, so let's say this guy has now said he's sat at 17% body fat, and he's going to be roughly around this scale weight. We don't know his definite scale weight, but it's going to be roughly around this region with a rough level of activity. So at this point, if you've been dieting for 2 months and you've not seen the drop off, I would then tell you, you want to sit at maintenance for at least 2, probably more like 4 weeks, to get your body to respond better. What I do for some people when they come to me is, if they're on the leaner side, if you're anywhere from in between 20 and 15% body fat, what I tend to do is I will sit you just below maintenance to begin with. So if you're coming to me at 17% body fat, this much amount of scale weight, hey, you're pretty good shape already. And then from there, we want to sit you just below maintenance. The reason I do this is because I don't know what you've been doing before, but if you go low calorie and starve yourself, your metabolism will not work in the way we want it to. If anything, we want to square the metabolism away by running a lot of food through your body, but whilst also training at the same time. So we're eating, but we're training. The analogy I like to use with this is imagine your body is a car and you just drive your car around town, stop, start, gear 1, 2, 3, stop, start. Over 6 months of doing that, there's so much carbon in the engine and the battery's nearly fucking flat. So no wonder it's like nearly going to spank in. What we need to, that's what people do with their bodies, except they starve themselves or they just eat really garbage food that doesn't like serve them in any ways. And also if they're not training properly either, that's also how they accumulate the body fat. So what we want to do with the car is to fill it full of fuel, send it down the motorway for a couple of hours, blow out the carbon and charge up the battery. The same principle is what we want to do with your metabolism. We want to eat a good amount of food, not loads, but even just by eating just below maintenance, that'll be a good amount of food as long as you're eating whole foods, proper foods, and training very well as well. You do that for 2 weeks, your body is going to be in a good space. Now, if you've been dieting for 8 weeks already, the reason I say do at least 4 is because you're going to have a bit of diet fatigue. You're going to be a bit licked out with the situation anyway. Like, let's be a human being about this. You're going to want a bit of a time out from the diet. So when you do hit it again, it's not felt like you've been dieting for 8 weeks plus another 12 to get to the goal. It's, I did it 8 weeks. I learned some lessons. I've sat at maintenance. The whole time I've been training, progressing my numbers in the gym. So I'm still building tissue. Still in a good space of building tissue because you don't want to run the risk of losing the tissue because what's the point in dieting down if we're going to lose the tissue anyway? Now, after you've done that, you've had 4 weeks, slightly off plan and a lot more food. Then when you go to pull back food, you only want to gradually pull it. So what I did with this guy was we started and we made changes. But in the beginning, we started here and then we went down and pulled 150 calories straight away. Then we didn't need to pull anything from food for a while because what we did was added through activity and output, and then we added again through activity and output. The reason for the jump, by the way, in these two, you may think, bloody hell, 20 minutes or 40 minutes, that was to combat a certain life event that was going on. So we wanted to create a bigger energy balance, but we didn't bring it down after that. I then removed another 100 calories. But then if you look from there, I've done my changes, and at that point, we're sat on, 1900 now? And we sat on that for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then after the 8th week, so 2 full months, are sat at 1900, drop. Nice. And I only made that last little tweak just to really be aggressive in the last push to get the last bit up. And that's all I did. So I only moved 3 changes down, and he finished around 1800. So with that, the whole point of this video is don't go so low so early. Don't play your cards too early. Start just below maintenance. Run that for 2 weeks. Understand your body. Train hard. Eat the food. And then when you start to pull from it very, very gradually, that way the body will respond a lot better. Of course, it's going to be relative. If you're a bigger guy and you're starting on more food, it's going to be 200 calories you pull. But for most people, you only need to pull 100 calories. Because what you'll find is you start on a plan, and let's say cool, or let's say worst case scenario, you sat at maintenance, no problem. Take away 100 calories or 150 calories, and then see the response you get across that week. Weigh in every day, see the response you get. What will happen is 2 things. You'll either drop weight, in which case perfect. Don't touch anything because you want to milk as much as you can out of that much food and that much output. And then if it starts to plateau out, make a change. Try and keep your food as high as you can for as long as you can. And always try to push up the output. We can see here, we had him at 40 minutes cardio for the longest period of time. Instead of just take from food. Now, don't get me wrong, to save time and be efficient, you can take from food. But in order to give yourself more food that you put around the workouts and you train harder, you're going to give yourself a better chance of retaining the tissue that you don't want to lose. And if anything, if you're detrained and haven't been training that well anyway, then actually you would have had a greater chance of building tissue as well. So I would say keep food as high as you can for as long as you can, because it's always going to keep your metabolism in a healthier space. Push through output when you need to see a change until you do get to 40 minutes cardio, then you're going to need to start pulling from food. And don't get me wrong, it's not always going to be textbook. Some people, I managed to just, we have to take from food once in the beginning, and then I just rinse the cardio out for the longest time, and then we start taking from food. I've got a client that will be finishing nearly soon. We made 3 changes across about 22 weeks. The guy's pulled off like 25 kilo. So it's not always like textbook, do it exactly like this. Your body is different. Everyone's body is slightly different and will respond slightly different. But the overall message and the overall response to this question here is, in this exact scenario, if you've been eating 1,800 calories for over 2 months, what I would then do is go onto a diet break, where for someone your body type is going to need around about, I would sit just below. So I'd go to 2,700 calories and I'd sit at that for 4 weeks. I'd train really well. I'd eat the food, still do 10,000 steps. I wouldn't be doing cardio because you don't want to just burn through the food for no reason. Will you get heavier during this period? Well, if you're going to be eating more food and there's more glycogen stored in the muscle, then yes, absolutely. But it's not going to be drastically more. It'll be like maybe 1 kilo, if that, and a lot of that's just water and glycogen inside the muscle anyway. And also, bear in mind, you are looking to still progress and build tissue throughout this process, absolutely. So you're going to do that for the course of 4 weeks. And then at that point, you've got your standard now. You're then going to pull down from it. And in the beginning, if you're on just below maintenance, you can be more aggressive. You can go 200 calories straight away. Test your body for the week, see your scale weights, take the photos. If it responded, if it dropped, if you pulled off the kilo, perfect, don't touch anything until you don't. And then you're going to make that next change. And in that case, I would then put output in first. The point is you want to keep as much food eaten as possible for as long as possible, because there will come a point where it needs to go low. But going low wants to give us a result. If going low is not giving us a result, that's the worst position to be in, because you're on low food and not yielding any result from it. So that would be my recommendation, what you would do. The reason I say it's not genetics is because, and this is the reason I'll tell you it's not genetics. If you look at, where is he? This guy here, potentially wouldn't have the best genetics. It can still be done, can still get lean. You know what I mean? Like, you could say bad genetics, still in a better position. Any other examples of potential bad genetics? No, not really. So that's what I would say. It can still be done. It's just a case of getting your body to respond to training stimulus and being responsive to dieting. At that point, if you're not dropping weight and you're eating that much food, you're just not that responsive to dieting. So we want to get you responsive to dieting. So hopefully that clears up the solution to this and to what you should do for those of you watching. If you're not responding from 1,800 calories, don't get disheartened from this. Don't think this is the end of the world. It's not. It's just a little bump in the road of getting to what you need. You're just going to, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or 1 step back to then go 2 steps forward. Sit and train a bit harder. Enjoy some off-plan meals. Enjoy the training sessions that are going to come with it. Get the body in a good space. Slowly start to pull back from it, and your body will respond a lot better, and you'll be able to keep the tissue as you go through the dieting phase. So hopefully you found this useful. If you did, great. Subscribe. If you want to work with me, great. There'll be a link in the description. You can book a call. And my battery's about to die, so I guess that's that. See you tomorrow.